Good evening, Rick. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. Some would say take two, but hey, we're not going to talk about that right now. I am your host, Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at News Nerds Need on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
And the sound effects you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn 1, Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Thread. And he's back.
I'm back.
Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at?
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Indeed. And you can find this here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network. That's ESPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network's SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Indeed. And folks, well, just to get this out of the way, off the bat, we will not be talking about Eyes of Wakanda this week. Maybe some folks might have heard that part before, I don't know. But we will not be talking about Eyes of Wakanda this week because it came out today as of a recording, and neither one of us has been able to check it out just yet. But like I said, next week we'll have our impressions of it.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah, and like I said last week, it was kind of dodgy in a way for us to. If we had record on Thursday night, it was going to be dodgy for us to get it for obvious reasons because it would have come out after we recorded. So it just so happened the fact that it's still not viable, but you know what? It'll be there, and we'll be there for it. And with that, folks, we are going to get right into Agent 70's excursion into San Diego Comic-Con of the 25th year of the 2000s. Take it away.
So it was, in fact, my very first time at San Diego Comic-Con, and it was what I've said before, on a number of occasions. It was, in fact, overwhelming. Did not matter how many New York Comic-Cons I'd been to. My first San Diego Comic-Con was, in fact, overwhelming. The sheer scale of it is overwhelming. There are a couple of really big differences between New York Comic-Con and San Diego Comic-Con, one of which is just the size of the convention center. The show floor is enormous. The artist alley portion of the show floor is tiny compared to the artist alley that is dedicated to artists at New York Comic-Con. And I've heard this from other artists in the past that the two artists alleys do not compare. New York is by far the better artist alley. On the other hand, the show floor in San Diego is just so big. It's just overwhelming. I can't say that enough. It's just the only way to put it. It's incredibly big. And because of the size of the overall of the convention center as a whole, there's another big advantage that San Diego has over New York, and that is the programming. The programming space that San Diego has just laps New York Comic-Con. It definitely puts the amount of programming to shame. There's just so many program rooms that that San Diego can take advantage of, including like connected hotels. It's not just the convention center itself. There are also connected hotels to the convention center that actively supply meeting rooms for Comic-Con. You know, I did. I attended a panel all the way at the San Diego at the San Diego Marina Marriott, which is the north end of the of Comic-Con. So I could tell you that it was you know, a heck of a trip getting to and from certain panels, because you didn't realize that they were so far apart. But thanks to @MattWang97, he was able to, you know, he basically convinced me to get in early on Wednesday for a preview night, to get in there before preview night, to give me a chance to walk around and tour the facility basically, and figure out my way around before like the madness started Wednesday night for preview night, and Thursday for the show proper. And that was super helpful. So I give @MattWang97 all the props, all the thanks ahead, just for making this happen, and for giving me the personal tour, because that was super helpful. I also discovered one thing was important. It was important to actually have a pair of sunglasses, or, you know, like I don't wear glasses normally. And I noticed that people who did wear glasses, I think, benefited from the lenses that had gradients or automatic shades, you know, that changed with the bright sunlight. So I think that is a great tool for folks who have to use glasses on the regular. But I definitely had a pair of sunglasses around, like clipped to, you know, like tucked into my collar every day that I was at San Diego Comic-Con, because the weather there is disgustingly beautiful, because there is there's no variance really. It's low 70s, no humidity, clear blue skies, hardly any cloud cover at all ever. So you're far better off carrying sunglasses. And if you do require sunscreen, pack some, because you may end up waiting online outside. You should pack some. I brown, so I'm okay, but I should have sunscreen. But I did not find myself waiting outside too long, so I kind of lucked out in that regard. But I can understand why it's important for some people to pack it. That's pretty much my experience. I spent a lot of time on the show floor. I went to a number of panels. Shout out to the Ringerverse. I met some of my podcast heroes over at the Ringerverse. Shout out to Mallory Rubin and Joanna Robinson. They were super cool. I met them at a meet and greet after their panel. After I had a party to go to. Lots of things to do at Comic-Con that are not just strictly Comic-Con related. But yeah, it was a ton of fun, folks. If you can go, I definitely advise anyone and everyone to go. If you can get in, and spend some time there, it's an incredible experience. I'm going to be bringing this up. It's hard to recap 4.5 days of just Comic-Con madness. Those are just the highlights that I talked about just now, and I'm going to be talking more about it here and there, especially as I do show and tell. I don't know if I'm going to do it now or at another time later today, or maybe at another show when we have a guest on. We'll see.
Yeah, so hopefully for next week's show we're gonna get MattWang97 in the house, and I'm sure that'll jog up some stuff as well as whatever you have for show and tell. So
right, we'll have some of the stuff that we had to ship to ourselves.
Right.
So
we'll definitely be revisiting San Diego again in a future episode. But for right now, so I gave my impressions of Fantastic Four last week, or at least quickly anyway. And you have now since seen it, since you were also busy at San Diego. You have also seen Fantastic Four, so we can get your impressions and we kind of bounce a little quick tete-a-tete on that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, first things first. I was surprised to see how far away the closest movie theater was to the convention center. And the second thing was, even if I did, who knew if I was going to get a ticket for like opening weekend, right? Because it was just, going to be that busy. There were screenings for Comic-Con people that that were planned, but it's not like I went in there planning to go. So I ended up getting a ticket to a non-IMAX screening this past Wednesday. I wanted to check out an IMAX screening, but guess what? All of the early evening shows that I had planned to go to were all basically sold out still. Roughly just short of a week later, the IMAX showings were still maybe not fully sold out, but all of the good seats were sold out. Right. I would have had to sit like in the front row and had to crane my neck, and I did not want to do that. But other than like maybe like the first row and the second row, you had people in some of the some of the seats in the second rows for some of the IMAX theaters that I had an option to go to, and they were sold out. Basically, they were filled up. And that was a good sign. That means that there's some good word of mouth out there. And when I got out of my theater, I was good with the movie. I was a little bit disappointed in a few things. I wasn't floored. I don't remember, like, I can't compare it to like being, I think the most fun I had at a movie where I had kind of little to no expectation was probably when I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy, right? That was probably the biggest pleasant surprise of all of the MCU movies that, where I walked in with very little to no expectation. In this case, I was just hoping for the best, and it turned out to be a pretty good movie. I like the casting. I think the casting is probably the strongest part of the movie. I think everyone but Reed Richards, I really liked. I really liked how every character was portrayed. It's the Reed portrayal that I'm not so keen on. Come at me, shots fired. I'll take you on. But other than that, I really enjoyed, Eben Moss Backrack and I forget the actor's name. I don't know why. The guy who plays Johnny Storm, the guy from Stranger Things. He was really good. Vanessa Kirby's really good. I just wasn't a big fan of this portrayal of Reed by Pedro Pascal. So, but it turned out to be a pretty good movie overall. I really liked some of the action sequences with Shia Ball Silver Surfer. Those are really good. I'm trying to think of anything else I want to bring up that I was a really big fan of. Just the overall characterization of the 3 out of the 4 members of the Fantastic Four. I just really dug. What did you think? I wasn't here to listen to it.
Right. Well, like I said, I'm not going to rehash too much of what I said last week, but overall, I also enjoyed the movie. I thought their chemistry altogether was great. And by the way, it's Joseph Quinn is the dude's name for that.
Thank you, Joseph Quinn.
Yeah, it just so happened to have an article up, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, like I said, and just like I told Agent 7 before the show, there are a couple which I didn't mention last week. Actually, I don't think for obvious reasons, but there were the things that I bumped against had nothing to do with their chemistry or any of the portrayals, because I thought, like as I also told Agent 7 before the show, yeah, I felt like they were probably going to a certain type of read with this one, and if that was indeed what they were going for, they hit, like, I think, especially in thinking about a run of Fantastic Four where where Reed was basically trying to solve everything, which they kind of, I feel like they kind of was going for here. But outside of that, the stuff that I had issues with was situational stuff, plot stuff, not necessarily full plot stuff, but even there might have been a couple of that I could think of that was like, okay, that's weird. But, and again, we're still kind of a week out, so I don't want to really give it away, but it's like, how they handled a certain, bless you, how they handled a certain situation with, let's just say, the folks that were around them. And
Right.
as Agent 70 said prior to the show, it was like, they didn't have a lot of time, which, sure, that could be a thing, but at the same time, yeah, there was still another way to handle that, especially when they were already basically moving people out of the way. That their solution to that was still kind of crazy.
Excuse me. No, I mean, I get it. I still kind of chuckle at the idea that the Marvel movies still care about, saving all the bystanders, where all the DC movies just destroy everything. And,
right. It's like,
what about everybody there?
Right. Well, with the exception of Superman recently, but yeah, it's like, I'm apparently going to save squirrels.
Right.
But you are right, because usually people in DC movies prior to recently was like, hey, you just collateral damage. And even in Superman there was still some of that. But
yeah.
But that being said, and look, I don't want to spend too much time looking at some of the stuff I've said last week. But yeah, I enjoy Fantastic Four. The whole space movie, the whole space feel, the whole family feel. Some of the amusing effects that they used for even the space travel stuff was pretty great, because they were really leaning into that time space and feel kind of situation, and I kind of enjoyed all of that with what they were doing. It is interesting, as Agent 70 said, the focal point of the movie ended up not being the family themselves, but an extended member of the family.
Right.
And also, I guess this part I can say the same, which I probably mentioned last week, but the curiosity of the fact that the two end credits did not line up where we thought it would.
Oh, no, not at all.
So
not at all. Like, the way this movie ends and where it leaves us is like totally subverted my expectations. I have no idea how we're going to pick up the pieces when we come out of, if we're going to pick them up in Wonder Man, or if we're going to come out of Wonder Man just cold when it comes to the setup for Doomsday. So, we'll see how all that stuff plays out.
Right.
Does Spidey come out before Doomsday? It does, right?
I believe that's true. I think we do have some news on that front.
Right. So I guess Spidey's going to set us up.
Possibly, or at the very least, maybe possibly tease something in the credit scene, like sometimes it does.
Right.
So we'll see. When that is the case. I don't think Wonder Man's going to do it, because they usually hinge all that stuff on movies and not any of the shows. So, but
makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. They might hint at something in Wonder Man, and they'll pay it off in Spider-Man.
Right.
I have a feeling that's generally how it's going to play out.
Right. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I will bring up the fact that really quick, and that way that we don't have to tackle this in the news section. Hey, guess what? Fantastic Four did some numbers domestically in the first week. 118 million smackers domestically the first weekend. So you know what? Not surprising. Not surprising at all.
Not at all.
I haven't heard
not at all. And like I said, anecdotally, it's still selling out theaters in IMAX. I can't speak for regular theaters, but the IMAX showings were definitely basically sold out.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I could see.
Right.
All in Manhattan.
Right. I had considered going back to watch it again. I haven't done it, but I had considered it. But like I said, it's probably not going to happen. But like I said, the fact that the consideration was there in relation to where it wasn't with Superman, it kind of says
Right.
something
I might
to
go
me.
back to see it in IMAX. That's really what I'd like to go. If I can go to the one true, like I can't say this now anymore because I have not been to all of the latest IMAX theaters in the city. But like coming up, I always knew of one true IMAX theater up at Lincoln Center, and that is the theater that I think most people know of as like the true IMAX theater. So it would be, I think, advisable for me to try to go there. My hope is that I have enough time before it leaves for whatever else is going to come into IMAX next.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't, and that would, yeah, and I would, as much as I would like to see an IMAX, one, the IMAX theater is like way across town, and two, I don't think it's a true IMAX theater, I suspect. Unless they've upgraded it, what I don't know, because I haven't really given it a consideration in almost a decade at this point. So, but yeah, that's Fantastic Four. That's our impressions of the Jobby. And just like I said last week, folks, if you haven't seen it, go check it out for yourself, because your impressions matter more than you asking somebody else and they're telling you their biasness. I'm just saying. You may like it, you may not like it, but at least you'll know, as opposed to leaving it to somebody else. That being said, we talked about the fact that we're not talking about Eyes of Wakanda, so we're going to get into the news section, and we're going to start off with. Excuse me. No, we're not. I'm sorry. I said news, and I did not mean news. We're going to get into the comic books of the week, with Ultimate Spider-Man number 19.
Alrighty, Ultimate Spider-Man number 19 is written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Marco Cacchetto. I was lucky enough to see Jonathan Hickman. I did not make it into his spotlight panel, and heaven forbid I actually, catch his signature on anything. I did not plan on seeing him at any booth. So my hope is that he makes it to New York, and I'll be packed and ready to go on my own home turf. Hopefully I can get Hickman's signature. Hopefully he comes to New York and I can get his signature at some point soon. So this book, Ultimate Spider-Man number 19, is again written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Marco Cacchetto, colors by Matthew Wilson, and letters by VC's Corey Petit. So we kind of pick up this story where we left off, where shout out to our good Admiral here.
It's a trap!
But the trap is sprung, but it turns out that, there's some other stuff going on. We're not getting a true linear story. We're getting a little bit of things being told out of place, and we have a little bit of context being put into what happens in the aftermath of the trap being sprung. So it's interesting to see what develops here. There is a clear parallel with this mechanical suit and a symbiote suit that was hinted at but is now pretty clear. And we're starting to see more of how this group of Sinister, however many there are, Sinister 6, Sinister 17, whoever knows at this point, how they're all going to function together as this Ultimate Spider-Man story gets told. With that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
And you can kind of say, based on how criminals of a certain ego and handle themselves on a regular basis, probably not well, as this story kind of as this issue kind of intimates as well. So
Right.
But yeah, the only other thing I can add to what Agent 70 just said is that, one, Ultimate Spider-Man continues to be pretty good, and apparently it is ending soon. It'll be missed, but that is a thing that sounds like that was in the works from the get-go. you know, we got a little bit with Mole Man and Peter because, you know, of what he knows. But the real thing that was kind of funny to me in this story is basically that MJ's had it up to here,
Right.
with things.
Right.
And that part was like, oh, she big man.
Yep. She put her foot down.
Basically, like she was, and she seemed to have some sort of spider sense of her own, apparently, because of what happened after they finished talking. But then again, given where they were, I guess it wasn't hard to, you know, hear someone else coming around the corner or whatever the case may be. But yeah, that part was like, oh damn, yeah. You can see the redhead came fully out at one part of this issue. And you get some more part with Kingpin and like the rest of his crew and that whole Craven situation, which Mole Man is not being helpful of. So I half expected, you know, them to kind of be on his tail for that one, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But yeah, I guess next issue is going to be revelatory for a character, as they found out, or as I suspect it'll probably be off-panel finding out, because the readers already know about this stuff, and this character who's want to be in the know,
Right.
is probably going to find out and react to it then, but we shall see.
Right.
But that being the case, we're going to move on to, well, we're going to stick to the Ultimate Universe here, the true and proper Ultimate Universe. Very much shade to the distinguished competition. With Ultimates number 14.
Ultimates number 14 is written by Dennis Camp, with art by Juan Frigeri, colors by Federico Blee, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. So we all know that the MCU is and was heavily influenced by the original Ultimate Universe and by the original version of the Ultimates, right? Their version of the Avengers. And, you know, the MCU formed a group named the Avengers, which was heavily influenced by the Ultimates. And we see here where it's the other way around, where the MCU is heavily influencing this version of the Ultimates. We have the introduction of both the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver almost word for word the same. They're introduced almost word for word the same way as they were in the MCU.
Yeah.
And you know, the parallels are there. You know, it was definitely a fist pump Captain America moment for me.
I figured
because you know, like it just kind of made me smile to see, you know, this version of Cap, who's not you know, I always hated the fact that Ultimate Captain America was, you know, what everyone's fever dream was. Like, well, this is what would happen if you know, Captain America actually, you know, was a soldier, you know, in 1940, you know, in the 1940s, and frozen and came, you know, and was unfrozen. Like, no, he's who the writers say he is. And the writers say this is Captain America. And, you know, this particular version of Captain America is hews very closely to the Steve Rogers that we have known throughout most of Marvel Comics history. And to see him kind of come through against, you know, like what could be conceived to be, what could be considered to be pretty overwhelming odds is a lot of fun. You know, that's my take on it. What do you think, Roddykat?
It was just, again, Ultimate's another book that's, you know, usually pretty great. It started out, amusingly enough, in a similar way an old Avengers issue, like talking like original, like going back to 1969, 70-ish, with the Cookie Quartet, minus the other two. Well, I guess technically they're all here, but just in different in different ways. So you kind of starts off with Cap and Hawkeye kind of doing the thing, and Hawkeye being Hawkeye, Bees is Hawkeye. So he kind of kicks off this whole bee's nest for Cap, and Cap's like, come on now. but he still goes with it because Cap is Cap and ends up being the one with the plan as he tends to do as people write him. So that kind of played out the way you would expect it to be. But on the other side of that, we also get some behind the scenes with. Well, I guess technically we get introduced to a couple of people into this version of the Ultimate Universe, like representatives from Roxxon, AIM, which we'll talk about that AIM thing in a second because that kind of had me curious as to why that particular numberation was used with them. The Exterminatrix, I believe the Justine Hammer, the dude that is over Alchemax. I don't recall any of them being seen or named in this book prior to this. I could be wrong. Maybe Midas was named because of events that they talk about while they're all in their powwow. But the Roxxon CEO, I don't recall that particular name even in the 616 actually, much less being named here in this in this universe.
Right, but we are familiar with who they report to.
Yes. Oh, yes, and which is what I'm getting to the next thing, and I believe this may be the intro to a particular diamond studded I would say without with a lack of another word, highbrowish, haughty of a mutant who's known for being a little bit icy.
Sure.
And,
right, with a touch of hellfire.
Yes, with definitely a touch of hellfire with who she's was talking with, during the course of this, who also basically brought in Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in on this. So that's the whole thing we haven't seen about it while have not been up on Ultimate X-Men, I'm almost fairly certain they haven't popped up there at all, but I could be wrong because Ultimate X-Men is kind of in its own world as far as we still know.
Right.
So.
Right.
But you start seeing that kind of stuff kind of coming into play in the Ultimates as we are at the halfway point. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure. This one also might be ending at 24, but I'm not entirely sure.
Right. I want to say that if we're missing out on anything that might be related to this, it would be the Ultimate Wolverine book, but I don't know.
Yeah. Again, yeah. Also, that's another one, and that one just started, so there's no telling. And I don't think you've not read it all. Have you read some of it?
Nope.
Yeah,
I've not read any of it.
Right. So neither one of us is up on that one either. So, and like you said, yeah, that could very well be the case. There was, and the last thing I'm gonna say about this is that there was a line that's could very well be ripped straight out of real life in talking about a thing, and you'll know the quote when I say it. Well, I don't think it was an actual quote, but it's basically a feeling some people had, and it's like, billionaires are people too, which was said in here. I was like, really? Okay. Okay, Camp. I see what you did there. I see what you did there. All right. But like I said, Ultimates continue to be good. There was also another person that was mentioned, but I don't think we've seen them in a minute. Also, one Bobby DaCosta, so, and a couple other things they mentioned. But also the one thing the last thing I will actually mention is that when the AIM representative came in, they had a number on them, and that number was 1983. So of course that caused me to do some sleuthing, because I'm still like, what does that have to do with it? Because it clearly was not when AIM, first appeared in Marvel. It was not. And the only thing I could come across with, which might also still kind of gives a little bit of credence to what Agent 70 said about the way the twins came in, is that might possibly point to Captain America Annual number 7, which was applied with AIM and a certain cube of cosmic variety. There was nothing like that directly, was suggested in the course of this issue, but as Agent 70 said, because of the MCUification of the twins and them almost pretty much going beat for beat with how they were there into here, you can surmise that maybe there could be something like that going on here. We don't know, but I wouldn't think so. But we do know mutants exist in this world, so they could be fudging that just a little bit, and maybe that could have been just a one-off. Like, I don't know, they needed a designation number of the chapter of AIM, and that was just a coincidence. But like I said, sometimes these things bring us to do some sleuthing, even when it probably doesn't necessarily need it. But that being the case, we are going to go into the last book that we have in common, and that book is, I guess, speaking of the Fantastic Four, The Thing, number 3 of 5.
Alrighty, Thing number 3 of 5 is written by Tony Fleeks, with art by Justin Mason, colors by Alex Sinclair, and letters by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. So the Thing has kind of reached a point where we are just past the halfway point of the story. It's a 5-issue story, and some of the conflict has really been laid bare, where he's been able to rescue the child of one of his former classmates, and things have gone bad to worse because he does not yet realize that there's a bounty. He finds out this issue that there's now a bounty that has been placed on his head, and people are looking to collect. And that's where we get a ton of guest stars in the pages of this Thing miniseries who are out to get Ma Grimm's blue-eyed baby boy, Benji Grimm. So, there's a lot of stuff happening here with these guest stars, and the last guest star is a lot of fun to try to think about what this particular what the next issue is going to hold. And with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
Right. So yeah, so this whole miniseries started with, well, pretty much ended up, or at least from the end of the first issue, starting with Bryn with a bounty on his head, but apparently that must have just got upped significantly, right? Because it kind of felt like it was like, didn't they already pretty much call out everybody in the beginning of this? Or unless that was a time jump that I missed out on or something. But regardless, it doesn't matter because the folks we come out to play in this particular issue are starting getting into the upper heavy hitters list. Let's just say, as opposed to a Bullseye that goes up against Ben in the last issue. That's like, Ben Bullseye is good for what he is, and I'm sure he would get some licks in, but yeah, I don't think he was just one good grab would just finish him up real good.
Right. And he's not a jobber, but we know what people who the people who are in Ben Grimm's weight class.
Right. He has a specific set of skills, and that works in certain situations.
Right.
So, but that being said, there's the curiosity now is going to be, what in the world is up with this kid that Ben's going to save from this classmates? Well, that's related to the classmates, but of his, and so two classmates of his apparently, as we have found out. So that's going to be the big thing. That's going to be the thing. And I guess Ben eventually is going to find out who's actually behind all of this and why that type of situation. But I suspect we're not probably going to find that out until the very last issue.
Right.
But yeah, the next issue is going to be interesting because of who, let's see if Ben has any luck stopping who's coming in the next issue. And we'll leave it at that. Actually, that part right real quick had me think about it. It's like, wait, when was this set again? This is not set in the current times. We can definitely say that because that person in current in current timeline is still on the side of good. Last I checked.
Right.
So
hanging out in Alaska.
Exactly. So I was like, so it threw me for a second when they showed up. I was like, wait, man. Oh, right. This is not current. Gotcha. It took me out of it for like 2 seconds. But folks, that is takes care of all the books that we have in common. Let's get into a little bit of rapid fire.
All righty, rapid fire review time, folks. Here we go.
I ain't got time to bleed.
All right, I only have a few books this week. First up is Titans 2025 Annual Number 1. It's a one-shot by DC Comics. It's written by Phil Jimenez, with art by Phil Jimenez, colors by Arif Prianto, and letters by Wes Abbott. So I am a sucker. I'm a sucker for longish form stories that are based on or centered upon one Donna Troy, aka Wonder Girl. And this is almost a love letter to the character and the crazy history that the character has gone through ever since the days of the New Teen Titans and the famous, the seminal story, Who is Wonder Girl? And unfortunately, you know, the follow-ups that kind of...
Sorry.
It's all right. And unfortunately, some of the stories that have come after that have really messed with the character's origins and characterization. This, though, is, like I said, kind of a love letter to resetting, as it were, the basic story of Donna Troy. And it's a great tale. It's it's a longish form tale. You know, it's the contents of an annual, so it's going to be a little long. It's definitely a little verbose, but it's a great issue. I'm definitely going to track this down in hard copy, and this is almost certainly a key prime candidate for Click of the Week for me this week. Next up is Bring On the Bad Guys, Loki #1. The first story in this issue is written by Anthony Oliveira, with art by Jethro Morales, colors by Yen Nitro, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. The second story in this book is by Mark Guggenheim, with art by Michael Santa Maria, colors by Dono Sanchez Almara, and letters are by VC's Travis Lanham. So to continue the whole Bring On the Bad Guys motif, Loki here basically does a deal with Mephisto, a deal with the devil, to help him get out of a particular jam. And the story is all about how Loki executes his particular deal and what comes of it. And that's the interesting part. It's actually really well written. It's well done. The backup story is this whole Sister Sorrow thing with the ongoing kind of connected story between these Bring On the Bad Guys one shots. Next up is Spider-Man and Wolverine #3. It's written by Mark Guggenheim, with art by Kari Andrews, colors by Brian Reber, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. So I had to catch up. I was behind on this. I did not read #2, but I read #2 and 3 today, and it's a fun little book. I'm not sure how many issues are contained in this series. I don't know what the extent of this mini series is. I don't seem to see a final issue in the comic listing, but I will say that it's a lot of fun to read a story that is that's clearly set in continuity and canon, where we all know what we've read and it's being referenced constantly in this issue. We're led to believe that something that they've experienced may not be a complete truth, but rather a partial truth, or a truth that has some omitted parts to it. So that leads to the conflict between Wolverine and Spider-Man. But we see that that may be part of someone's bigger plan. It's definitely great to see Kari Andrews' a pretty dynamic art and it's it's pretty fun overall to see how these characters mesh together. They've been put together in the past, and this series actually draws upon probably all of their previous interactions, and that's it for me.
Alrighty. Well, for me, let's go off into a little bit of a quest with. Space Ghost, Johnny Quest, Space Quest number 3 of 4. Written by Joe Casey, art by Sebastian Perez, colors by Lorenzo Scaramella, and letters by Taylor Esposito. So I had to catch up with the second issue of this because I forgot whether I had read it, and I hadn't because we hadn't had a copy of it at the time. But just to catch up, folks, so Dr. Quest and crew get called out to Nevada because they found some alien spacecraft or whatnot. Turns out that it's Space Ghost, the coupe, the space coupe, not the Phantom Cruiser, but what the kids usually ride around in, the little shuttle. So he is tasked to kind of militarize it, thanks to the folks that the higher ups have warned him to do something with it. But that leads to basically Johnny and Haji and Bandit switching places with Jan, Jason, Blip, which means that Johnny, Haji, and Bandit are with Space Ghost on the Ghost Planet, and Jan and Jace are here on Earth. There's a language barrier at first, but they get past that really quickly. We come to find out that Space Ghost apparently really likes recruiting kids, because not sooner as a mission comes up for him to fight one of his rogues gallery, he's like, "Here, take this, come with me." So Johnny and Haji is off battling somebody named Dr. Nightmare on their Nightmare Planet. Meanwhile, Jan and Jace are pretty much dodging the military and trying to figure out how to get back home with Dr. Quest. And also Dr. Quest gets attacked by some armed folks whom we don't necessarily know who they're affiliated with, but I feel like at some point you're probably going to figure out who it is, or we'll find out who it is at the end of the next issue, and it's probably somebody that you would probably know in that universe. But like I said, Jan and Jace kind of help Dr. Quest out with that while they try to figure out how to get back home. And they all hatch a plan to do such while, like I said, John and Haji are helping out Space Ghost with his issues, or with his bad guy of the week, and being slightly overwhelmed because of it. Next up, though, we got a new number 1, and that is... Oh dear, do I not have this? I thought I did. Crud. All right, I guess I don't. Speed Racer number 1 is my next book. My apologies for that. Written by David Pepose, who is the normal writer of Space Ghost, by the way. With art by David Tinto, colors by Rex Locus, and letters by Buddy Bedoin. We'll try to pull up. I'm not going to be able to do this easily, but we're going to do this anyway. And this is a Mad Cave book, by the way, if you are curious as to where this book is coming from. I enjoyed it, though. This is definitely a not necessarily a reboot retelling. This is a reimagining of the Speed Racer, because it's not like we got, if you've ever watched any of those of that anime / cartoon, it's not like we got a whole lot of history outside of the fact that he's a racer. He's got the Mach 5. Racer X is somewhere in the vicinity for reasons. And some of that still kind of plays here, but it's a little bit more grounded in kind of the real world, in a sense. Well, real-ish enough world for at least for comic books or cartoons, as it were. But I say that because you have, like, well, Speed's there, Chim's there, Sprittle's there, but they're kind of, they're handling money, but they're about getting that money, kind of in a way. Speed's dad is there, and they have beef with each other because of basically the whole Racer X thing / his older brother Rex, which they get into a little bit of flashback, but not necessarily into what happened to their older brother. But we get a little bit of Mach 5 action. We get a little bit of we meet most of the people in this that you would know from Speed Racer Universe, Trixie even. You also get a new float recipe that I'm kind of tempted to try, but that's a whole nother situation there. But also, like I said, you get a little bit of Racer X as well, and even at the end of the issue, you get apparently he's getting his own book that is coming in September, and we get a little bit of what he's going to be doing in this book and possibly going into that book as well. So yeah, it's a pretty good, interesting read, I think. And if you are familiar with the Speed Racer, you should check it out if you get a chance. Next up, DC and Sonic the Hedgehog number 5 of 5, written by Ian Flynn, art by Adam Bryce Thomas, colors by Matt Herms, and letters by Becca Carey. So basically, it all comes down to this Justice League and Sonic and his friends are all back together again on Sonic's planet. Basically it's trying to stop Darkseid and him screwing up reality as we know it. And of course, they do the thing in their own inimitable styles, but also leaving things open for a possible another crossover that is definitely coming if the last page or two is any indication, and it very much is. But this was a fun read, and I'm curious to see where they take it. And I say another crossover is coming because two eggheads in both familiar to both worlds, if you are familiar with both worlds, end up meeting each other. And also another self-proposed race between Sonic and the Flash is, curiously talked about, or curiously wanted, I should say, by one of the characters. So we shall see. Next up, though, I don't have this one either. Yes, I do. DuckTales, woo! I'm pretty sure that soundbite will be in there. But written by Brandon Montclair, art by Tommaso Rondo, and letters by Fabio Amelia, excuse me. So this is another trip with Uncle Scrooge and the boys. This is pretty much seems to be rounding out the arc, as it were, because basically Uncle Scrooge has been trying to teach the boys a thing or two about a thing or two, and it took them this long because they're young and impatient to finally pretty much get what he was trying to say. But also, you could almost say, even though this book seems like it's set in past a certain time in the DuckTales cartoon, because you see a couple of characters that come up that didn't come up until later. But it pretty much sets them up for new adventures coming in the next few next issues and above. But we also get basically almost the origin story of the money bin, and the fact that only Uncle Scrooge can swim in it. So we kind of get we get the start of that, and a little bit later on when it comes back to the quote unquote present, because this book tends to do like old flashback stories that seem to be flashback, but I don't know if they were actually stories that were actually already told before, but don't know. Next up, though, we do a little bit of Thundercats Lost number 4, written by Ed Brisson, art by Ruffalo Labasco, colors by Roshan Curicchiano. Excuse me, my apologies if I butchered that name. And letters by Jeff Eckleberry. So, funnily enough, Agent 70, I know, has read the last issue of Thundercats.
Right.
And a person that showed up there at the end of that issue also shows up here in a way. So, which kind of almost is telling me that they're definitely branching, they're tying the two books together. We don't know. But before we even get into that, the crew, the Thundercats lost, once again get into a little bit of trouble. They kind of ended one part of their mission, but all have set upon another part of their issue of their mission, because they went to kind of find a ship and to find the item on said ship, and they found the ship but not the item. So now they have to go and try to find that, and they was given a clue to such thing by the person that I just mentioned, who, as far as I knew, was dead at the beginning of this book. So, but as we come to find out in the regular Thundercats book, not so much. So, but the next issue seems like they're going to get into a little bit more about that character. You know, when the next issue comes through. Let's see, what else do I have? I don't know why I have those two, because those are definitely not ones. My last book is Justice League Dark. Justice League Dark Tomorrow Special number 1. There we go. It is written by, guess what, Mark Guggenheim and Mark Waid. Art by Cian Tormey, colors by Romulo Fajardo Jr., and letters by Dave Sharp. So, if you read the last issue of Justice League Unlimited, that, as I said, I might have said last week, if I'm not mistaken, or whenever we talked about the book, that basically kicked this book off, or this one-shot off, I should say, because it is a one-shot. And so this has to do with a team put together that is dealing with a situation with the time lost, the time lost heroes that have shown up in Justice League. We get a little bit of DC, live action crossover, because of the fact that not only does a character with the same name as a ship that was all up and through Legends of Tomorrow show up, but the ship itself also shows up as a means of transportation for this ragtag group of heroes to go do their thing. And it is indeed a ragtag group of heroes. You got like Batman Beyond, Huntress, Jonah Hex, Airwave, Plastic Man pops in. There's a new, as far as I know, a new character that is a Beetle legend, a Beetle related person on here. And there's also this other character that is a front and center called Legend. Oh, great. Oh well. Anyway, that comes into play here that may have something to do with one of the characters. I suspect I know which ones it is, if it is, or it could be, I don't know, it could be Booster Gold in armor. We don't know, but it's someone who seems to be familiar with at least one or two of the characters, and that in itself will probably come up somewhere. And as it says at the end of this book, because this is a one-shot, this is going to continue back in Justice League United, and apparently that DC KO situation that's coming up, and also an upcoming issue of Superman in part. So yeah, things are kind of spreading out. And the back of the book, or the couple other things in behind the story, but one of them has been through all of this past month's DC, or the past couple of weeks DCU books, and that's like the Cheetah and Cheshire robbed the Justice League. So you got that, and then you got another story behind here from a thing called Immortal Legend Batman, which seems some future thing. And that's another thing that is coming up. So if any of that interests you, you can check that out in this book. And that is it for me. Kliqs of the week.
All righty. Kliqs of the week. Here we go. Do you have yours? I've got mine. Mine was easy.
I'm going to try to guess yours.
Not
It
that
is
hard.
Titans.
Yep.
Mhm.
Titans 2025 annual number 1.
I figured because I almost said Ultimates, but I was like, nah. The way you was talking about Titans, I figured that was the case. Okay, cool. That's cool. I might end up checking that out, even though I ended up stopping reading Titans for some odd reason. I'm not sure why. Not because the book wasn't interesting, but I think it's just because of.
Yeah, listen,
The
for
many
me,
other books.
Titans is always like an on and off thing, like from recent incarnations. But like I said, I'm always a sucker for a good Donna Troy story.
Sure. Actually, you know what? I think I remember what I got it because it was when that book started. They had it was crossed over when that whole Beast World thing, and I think that's probably
That's right.
That's when I fell off of it. So
Right.
and then-
And it's funny that the one character who's not part of Teen Titans Go
Mhm.
is the character that brings me back to Titans every time.
Indeed. Even though that character has, I guess, showed up on there, but yeah, not as a main character. But that is kind of
Right.
funny. For myself,
It was always disappointing to me, as you can tell. I was always disappointed that they did not portray Donna, Wonder Girl, in Teen Titans Go,
shit,
or
I
Teen
did it-
or Teen Titans. You know,
Right. And I missed the book. I apologize. I did it again. I don't know why my notes are screwed up because I put them all in the order that I had them in. But I missed the book. The Vision and Scarlet Witch number 3 of 5. Which real quick, written by Steve Orlando, art by Lorenzo Tometa and Jacobo Camagni. Colors by Ruth Redmond and letters by VC Travis Landum. Excuse me. So Wanda and Vision went headlong into Grim Reaper's trap because of partially because of feelings, basically. One's feelings was like, all right, you know what? Sure, we need to do this. And the other one's like, you know what? All right, fine. I while I could just go ahead and end all of this, we're just going to go ahead and go through this whole thing. But also it has to do with the character that showed up last issue. And I know Agent 7 is aware of that character, so I don't have to necessarily say who that is. But we get a little bit more on them going through said trap laid out by the Grim Reaper. And we see some other folks kind of pop into the background as they go through this world that are set up as traps for the couple, and who are not necessarily a couple, but used to be a couple. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And some familiar faces that show up, and not just the one that sparked this whole thing off. But we also seem to get what seems to be a new power or an extension of the Vision's powers come into play in this. Whether this is going to be an ongoing thing going forward or we don't know. Also, it's worth mentioning that during a certain part of this issue, some music is being played, and they call out the piece, which may or may not have to do with a godlike being that has been popping up recently in live action and also something that Agent 70 read this week, let's just say. Whether that person is indeed behind what's going on here, we'll find out. Somebody's pulling Grim Reaper strings. We just don't know who that person is yet, but they're in their stomach, so go figure. And that, folks, is actually the end of my books of the week. But that being said, Vision and Scarlet Witch number 3 of 5 is a potential click of the week for me. Also, Ultimates was also pretty fun, and always enjoyed that. Ultimate Spider-Man is always good, so that's so that's not a surprise that comes up. DuckTales was pretty good. Speed Racer was more interesting than I thought it would. That I thought it was going to be, but I had to know what that book was going to be, and sure enough, I found out, and I am interested in checking out more of it. But we are going to go with Thundercats Lost was also good, but that's probably definitely not going to be the click here. So you know what? DC Sonic the Hedgehog number 505. That was, like I said, that was a fun read, and that is going to be my click of the week. Now we're going to go into the news, but first an ad read.
Alrighty, our first ad read of the night is for Blue Apron's meal delivery service. Blue Apron, fresh ingredients and incredible recipes delivered weekly to your door. Skip the grocery store and make incredible meals at home with Blue Apron. Always shipped free right to your home. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can get $30 off your first Blue Apron order. To place your first order with $30 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us, that's cspn.us, then click on the Keep Our Podcasts free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Blue Apron link and sign up for your first order. Blue Apron through cspn.us. Do it today. And now we get into the news.
Cinematic news we do about this time. Starfleet Academy gets a teaser trailer. There's also a con audio series that has been announced. Of course, a lot of this is coming from San Diego of the Comic-Con. And also, apparently, there's going to be an episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds that will be done with puppets. That's right, folks. Show continues to be silly and I love it. So yeah, I haven't checked out that first season of, the teaser trailer of the Star Trek Starfleet Academy, but it seems interesting from what little I know about it. I did hear the thing about the Con podcast or audio series, whatnot, and I'm not sure why that was necessary, but hey, but apparently some notables are coming back for it, like Sulu, George Takei, and Tim Russ as a young Tuvok, whom sure has been around, but I didn't think he would have been around that long. But then again, actually, I do know because he was in Star Trek 3 or 4, whatever it was that he was with Sulu, so that makes sense. So I'm assuming it's going to be around that episode, around that era. But either way, and the puppet, the Strange New Worlds with the puppets, that's just funny, and I haven't watched that show at all yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Next up,
Star Trek Strange New Worlds will eventually get to Kirk's first day on the job as Enterprise captain before the spin-off wraps up. That is their hope, and that is their plan. So that is the plan for Star Trek Strange New Worlds' final season, and let's see, that is the overarching plan for the 5th and final season. And this was revealed during the Star Trek Universe panel at San Diego Comic-Con. I was not present for this panel.
Because of course. And it makes sense because, the Stranger World set is right, like pretty much hit right up on TOS. So the couple of things are going to have to, and already, the lead character already knew his fate. So it's not like, that wasn't going to be the case. So I guess they just got to bookend it, basically. So we'll see how they do that. Next up, though, we already talked about that, so I'm going to skip that one and go to Fantastic Four director says that there was, quote, never anything I had to fight for after confirming all deleted scenes were removed for, quote, the greater good. So yeah, apparently there was a lot of stuff cut from the Fantastic Four. I assume whenever we get a physical release, we're probably going to see it then, or see some of that stuff then, and we'll see what he's talking about. But there's a quote here: by the time you end up cutting it, you're doing it for a reason, Shackman told Court Lighter. You're looking at the larger picture, and you're able to make those cuts because they make sense, and ultimately it's for the greater good. It's always in the post-process hard to, the forest for the trees and all that. You have to constantly think about the bigger picture, basically, and it goes on from there. So yeah, sounds like we may or may not have some stuff to look forward to when there's when there's a physical release. Sounds like, and it also mentions Avengers Doomsday is coming next December. So there you go. Next up.
Alrighty, give me one moment. So, which story did you do of these FF ones?
The second one.
Got it. All right.
So you got the
So Invincible
one.
creator, right? Invincible creator Robert Kirkman is done spoiling Steven Yeun news. This is coming from San Diego Comic-Con 2025. He basically said he can't tell you how much that Thunderbolts thing affected him. Okay.
Apparently, it's, Stephen Yeun was out for a century.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, we reported on that. You know, we talked about it on our show. So
Right. So and that's what pretty much led Kirkman to have whatever stance here.
got it.
And his, I don't know if it's fake anger, but the way this was written, it sounds like it might have been. I don't know, but it is Kirkman. Who would even knows? Next up, though, Rebecca Romaine isn't sure she's done filming for Avengers Doomsday because they haven't finished the script. I think I talked about a news story last week about said that you know what, things are still in flux and things are still happening. So sometimes they do stuff on the fly, like with Marvel. At least that's what Feige kind of said. So so she was at the Hollywood Reporter's Comic-Con suite for Star Trek Strange World, because that's what she's on at the moment. Let's see. And she said she's, like she said, she's not great true. The script hasn't been finished. It's been very fun, but we don't know yet. They keep everything very close to the vest themselves in order to keep everything on the wraps. And shout out Marvel snipers. But she also says she cannot confirm or deny that she's read the entire script. And she's also admitted that she can't say who she's filmed scenes all aside. Also, I believe Alan Cummings did kind of let slip something similar recently that I don't have in news, that about a fight scene that he had with an MCU character. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, therein lies that. Next up.
Alrighty, something that we were talking about earlier, some set photos leaked for Spider-Man Brand New Day, and they seem to confirm that the movie will be set over a year before Avengers Doomsday. So the set photos show some signage for a construction project that's happening in the film, with the information on the sign indicating that the project will be finished in December 2027. This places Spider-Man Brand New Day as roughly contemporary to Thunderbolts, which takes place in late 2027, according to the official timeline. We also do we have a story about like the new like looping ad that shows the new costume? The new Spidey costume?
I have it, but I did not put it in the line.
Okay, I was gonna mention it, but it's okay.
Yeah, because Anyway, and I thought this article actually had mentioned something about it, but it does not. So next up, crud, come on now. Mark Ruffalo is apparently returning as the Hulk in Spider-Man 4. So, while we didn't get the Hulk movie we should have had, we're still getting the Hulk at some point. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, it just talks about who else has already been announced for a Brand New Day. Still don't know much about the plot outside of the name and whatnot. And now we know that Ruffalo's going to be in it. Go figure. Next up.
All right, Feige basically dropped a bunch of hints about how the FF fits into Avengers Doomsday, and it makes things a little complicated because what he tells Marvel.com is that the fun of an Avengers movie is introducing people to each other and seeing how very different personalities get along. So with the Baxter Building set, let's say it had 4 or 5 people in it at most in the FF movie, and it's got a heck of a lot more people in it in Doomsday. Okay.
Teehee. Tee.
Exactly. Teaser.
Exactly. Next up, Marvel reportedly focusing on an X-Men movie with younger talent to, quote, keep the cost down, as well as Black Panther 3, but no urgency on Blade or Deadpool 4, according to this IGN article. And I guess they're getting this through Variety. So let's see. According to Variety, the game has changed for Marvel Studios and its boss Kevin Feige with superheroes, yada yada yada. Everything that I just said. But oh yeah, something I mentioned last week about Feige saying that they're not rebooting the universe, but they're resetting the universe after Secret Wars. So and I think he also said something about youth-oriented takes when he was talking about that stuff. But therein lies that. Next up,
Tron Ares, Disney Sans Marvel dazzles Hall H with a laser light show. Jared Leto and Jeff Bridges over at San Diego Comic-Con. Another panel I was not present for. This was moderated by Kevin Smith, and he says they did an entrance where they basically walked out of a wall, and he says that cost more than Clerks.
which not hard to be, honestly, but still.
Yeah.
I saw, when I watched Fantastic Four, I saw the trailer for Tron Ares, and everything looked good until they showed Jared Leto. Not saying he looked bad, but I'm not crazy about that dude in anything, and he's been waiting way too much, and that is stemming from his stint as the Joker. So fight me on that, I don't care. But outside of that, hey, the movie looks pretty darn good. Seeing a recognizer roll up on the screen at the first thing, they knew what they were doing to get people. Because if any Tron fan sees a recognizer, it's like, oh, that's it, I'm in. And therein lies that. Next up, though, James Gunn confirms 2 characters in the history of MetaHuman's DCU mural are important in a script being worked on right now, but we don't know who they are. Or this article kind of goes into who they might be. If you're watching the video version, you see said mural they were talking about that showed up in Superman. Actually, excuse me. No, yeah, you're right. It did show up in Superman. But Gunn published the full Hall of Justice history of MetaHuman's mural online for everyone to see, and that's what you're looking at if you're watching the video version. There's 26 characters. Some you know, some you might not know. Most you might not know. Put it that way. One actually showed up in the Justice League book that I talked about earlier. So that's kind of amusing. But yeah, I don't know which of these are going to be important, as they said, but I suppose that's Gunn doing what. Actually, 2 of these might have shown up in that thing if that other character is the same as who I thought it was. But anyway, yeah, there you go. And of course, Gunn said he's not going to tell you who's going to be the important ones in this, because you'll find out when whenever. And it reiterates the fact that Booster Gold's getting a pilot at the release, and that Sergeant Rock movie is still a thing. So it's probably not them, but maybe it is. That's what the article is speculating on. Next up.
So, at yet another panel I was not present at San Diego Comic-Con, John Cena dressed up in full costume as Peacemaker for the show's Hall H panel. He was joined by James Gunn, Frank Grillo, his co-star, Jennifer Holland, let's see, Freddie Stroma, Steve Agee, Sol Rodriguez, and Tim Meadows. And the panel showed the new trailer and talked about the show. Obviously, the cast discussed the Peacemaker opening credits, which include a surprising viral dance sequence in season 1. Now they're not trying to overdo it in season 2, but they do have apparently an homage to the Dirty Dancing in the new opening.
Interesting.
Apparently, it's a lift.
Oh, that thing. Sure.
Yeah, Peacemaker season 2 will premiere on HBO Max on August 21st, so 3 weeks away.
Mm-hmm.
8 episodes.
And I'm willing to bet it's probably Peacemaker lifting up Eagly.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where they would go with that. Next up, though, Comic-Con salutes James Gunn and gets first look at Coyote versus Acme, which apparently is back on the market again. And new Star Trek forays. We think we've probably already talked about that last part, but yeah, the takeaway here is that Coyote versus Acme is they were in Hall H and they were talking about the movie. It's is actually going to be released sometime this month in August, apparently, because I saw that bit of news before I saw this article, and I think it's like sometime near the end of the month, like the 26th or something. I'm not sure, but regardless, that movie has been saved, and Batgirl is still not saved yet. So interesting what they chose to save. Next up,
this past weekend, Warner Brothers Discovery had 2 films cross the $500 million mark. One being DC Studios' Superman, and the other being Apple's F1. The benchmark is a big lift for Warner Brothers DC Studios, as Superman is the first theatrical debut of James Gunn and Peter Safran since they became co-heads of the film and TV unit in late 2022. And earlier this month, F1 became Apple's best film release ever. I have not watched F1 yet.
I have no issues. I mean, I have no intent to, but I definitely saw that trailer also in front of probably FF. Or maybe it was Superman, one of the two, regardless. It's definitely been seen recently. Yeah, I guess, like I said, Superman's still making money. Good for them. Still doesn't mean Zaslav should keep his job. I know he doesn't necessarily, well, kind of doesn't have anything to do with it, but actually kind of does. Next up, though, the Tim Burton Batman films go back into the theaters in Dolby Cinema, according to this. So the remastered versions will play in over 160 Dolby Cinemas at AMC theaters across the U.S. This marks the first time both films, and that is Batman and Batman Returns, aka Batman 89. Come on, y'all know the deal. Marks the first time that both films will be presented in Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. And there's going to be in theaters for a one-night engagement on August 25th of this month. So there you go. I remember seeing Batman 89 in the theaters originally, so that's weird. I would actually almost go back and see. I mean, 2 maybe not so much, but definitely I wouldn't mind seeing 89 in the theaters again. Probably won't do it, but we'll see. Next up,
Alamo Drafthouse is calling all Ghostbusters fans to suit up and celebrate the original supernatural comedy that started it all, announcing a special movie party dedicated to the classic 1984 film.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
This live hosted interactive screening of Ghostbusters promises ectoplasmic fun, complete with audience participation and themed props. Let's see. Yeah, you get a bunch of themed goodies. Yeah, so there's screenings going on now already.
right. Apparently you get a quote-unquote reasonably sized marshmallow.
So it's going on throughout the last week of August, and tickets are already selling quickly.
Right.
You better trap your seats now.
Boom, boom.
Ah,
If you're watching the video version, you can see some of the trappings they got going on for this, including the green slime and the marshmallow and the Stay Puffed thing set up in the lobby, or set up near the lobby, I would assume. So funny. Next up, David Dashmashian. Dashmashian? I don't know. My apologies.
no, Dalsmakian.
Sure. Like you said. It talks about how he's been preparing to play M. Bison in the Street Fighter movie. The Baba Yaga was not present. Let's see. So this was a part of an interview with IGN to discuss a lot of stuff, including his role as M. Bison, and he apparently he got into the role by going to the arcade and playing a lot of Street Fighter 2, according to this article. He claims that he never loses, but this could be an indication of him getting into character as M. Bison. Maybe it was another Tuesday. It was just a Tuesday for him. Who knows? But he was asked if M. Bison would have white eyes and a couple of other things. But you can check out the interview that is linked to this article for yourself if you haven't seen it. Next up.
Alrighty. Avatar creators, not the blue people. Avatar creators confirm Steven Yeun's role in upcoming The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender movie at San Diego Comic-Con. So the creators of Avatar, The Last Airbender, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, again, not the blue people, confirmed a major piece of casting news for the upcoming Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender movie in an interview with IGN at San Diego Comic-Con 2025. Paramount Pictures has confirmed Steven Yeun of The Walking Dead and Invincible for the Aang movie in March, but we didn't know which character he's set to play. Speaking to IGN, Konietzko and DiMartino revealed that Yeun plays Zuko. I'm gonna invite some fire here when I say who.
And it's funny you should mention that because there's definitely a fire character.
Right.
As in, he uses fire also, but people really like Zuko. Anyway.
Right. So apparently Yeun voiced a different character in 3 episodes of The Legend of Korra previously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I didn't know because I hadn't watched Korra yet. Still trying to get Agent 70 to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender because I think he'd like it, and that's the only thing I'll say.
Listen, it's a hard enough task to try to watch the blue people one. So
please, you watched Haikyuu like 50,000 times. You can save a little bit of time for Avatar, just a little bit. But yeah, the Legend of Aang movie is coming out October 9th of this year. So, and yeah.
Oh, speaking of Haikyuu, I will tell you that the cosplay at San Diego Comic-Con I thought was escalating over the days, but I found it a little underwhelming overall. There were some really great cosplays, though. I think it was underwhelming simply because I think that the cosplay is a little bit more concentrated in New York Comic-Con, but at the very...
Oh, hold on for a second. You cut out. How did he cut out? Oh no. Hey, if you can hear me, I can't hear you. I don't know what happened. Maybe I still can't hear. Maybe try dipping out the call and coming back. Maybe that'll shake something loose. As we wait for 1870 to come back, and I have to cut this out. Joy's all around. I'm hearing something.
Dip, 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 dip,
There
dip,
we
dip. I'm back.
Yep, there we go. All right, now go ahead and say everything you just said again because it didn't pick up.
Oh, I was just talking about the cosplay at San Diego. It's funny that we were just talking about San Diego again. One thing that I noticed is that I might have been out of position when it comes to seeing some of the best cosplay at San Diego Comic-Con. I think that I know where the cosplayers tend to go and tend to exhibit the really high-end cosplays during New York Comic-Con, whereas I think I might have been in the wrong spots when the best cosplayers were out and about at San Diego. I did see a couple of really prime ones on Sunday, but other than that, it was, you know, kind of, you know, it was kind of a down cosplay convention for me. I'm definitely going to be putting up photos on at agent underscore, or no, at agent 70, agent underscore 70 on Instagram. And you know, I'll be posting. I have not yet had an opportunity to really sort through my photos. I'll be putting up later grams, as they're called, to talk about that. To talk about my trip to San Diego.
And on that note, folks, real quick, you can go to the and you see me scrolling through this, which you probably shouldn't be, but that's fine. I'm almost certain that in the clickbait section, I probably got some stuff from San Diego, like pictures of certain things. I don't know if I do actually. I'm looking at that. There's some Comic-Con stuff. I don't think the one that I'm thinking about I put in here, but it probably will be that has to do with cosplay and whatnot. But yeah, look forward to that if not. Anyway, next up we get into excuse me, Anime Corner.
Alrighty.
Mobile Suit Gundam Wing celebrates 30th anniversary with new video art and manga. Apparently, Endless Waltz will also get a theatrical re-release in the U.S. and Japan. So yeah, 30 years of Gundam Wing, probably my favorite Gundam at this point. Well, second favorite, I guess, if you count 8th MS team. But either way, so this San Diego Comic-Con had some stuff with them, and there was a bunch of Gundam-related announcements. And a lot of them tying back to Gundam Wing, the series, of course, because of the 30th. Yeah, everything I just mentioned is on the way. And apparently, oh yeah, and I did see this. There's a special Operation 30th video that is out there right now on the YouTubes, and link to this article that you can check out for yourself. Good stuff. Next up.
Speaking of Gundam, I did do one kind of class, you know, building your own, you know, Gundam. You know, it was free. They gave you a free model, like the basic Gundam model, like the whatever the basic model is, Z78, I think it is, or something like that.
Yeah, the RX-78. Yeah,
the RX-78, and they give you a free one. You know, I think those models are roughly $20. And you know, it's a no glue. They don't give you like nippers or anything like that. You just kind of pop it out, and you put it together. And that was the first Gundam I'd put together. So basically, they're acting as drug dealers. They're giving you a little bit of a taste, and if you like it, you might get hooked. I might get hooked into something else. I don't know if I'm going to go into like the ones that require glue, but I definitely might want to step up my next Gundam experience with something a little bit more difficult, but I definitely have like the basic RX-78 one to put on my shelf, and it was actually pretty cool to put together. So I definitely understand why this hobby can be so addicting.
You heard it here, folks. First, folks, Agent 70 is getting into Gunpla.
Yeah, right? Crazy. Like, I need more places to spend money. And all right, next up. Crunchyroll is launching Anime Nights, a theatrical event designed to give fans a shared experience that honors the art form. And the first two movies you can watch in cinemas, which begin this fall, are they're going to be in October. Let's see. First up on October 20th is Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Then on November 17th, a celebration of Overlord's 10th anniversary will be shown. To cap off the year, a secret sneak peek will be shown, allowing audiences to catch a glimpse of upcoming new anime on Crunchyroll before they hit the streamer. Okay.
That's cool. Yeah, this whole
and remember, Demon Slayer Infinity Castle comes into theaters September 12th, while the Chainsaw Man movie revs into theaters on October 29th in the US and UK. Oh, I didn't have that on my calendar. Gonna have to put that on my calendar too.
So yeah, the Anime Nights thing is it seems kind of cool. I don't know if we'll be able to catch any of them, but that would probably be cool to try to get out for. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is actually pretty good. I think that's the movie and not the series, but still. Either way, Agent 70. Why don't you take this next one?
All right, give me 1 second. All righty. K-pop Demon Hunters sequels, live-action remake, stage musical, and more have reportedly been in discussion at Netflix. Netflix is reportedly going all in on the K-pop Demon Hunters with those plans for, like I said, a live-action remake, stage musical, sequels, and more. Can I tell you that K-pop Demon Hunters has hit just, the fandom and the pop culture in general, like a storm, because no vendors, almost no vendors. I don't want to say no, almost no vendors at San Diego Comic-Con had anything, bootleg or otherwise, for K-pop Demon Hunters. I heard multiple people walk into booths that had like anime, anything, asking for K-pop Demon Hunters. I was lucky enough to get for my niece a couple of K-pop Demon Hunter things. One was, a couple of them were pieces of art, and one of them, well, 4 of them were sets of stud earrings, which I have not given to my niece yet, but I am eagerly anticipating her very happy cheer when she gets those, because I want to say I picked those up the first 2 days of the con, within the first 2 days of the con, and I know by Sunday they were sold out. They were sold because I walked past that booth and I saw the pegs that originally had these particular earrings on them completely empty. So, I am not surprised at all. Some of the music from K-pop Demon Hunters is at the top of the worldwide Billboard charts, not the U.S. charts, the worldwide Billboard charts.
Indeed. And also probably not really surprising that, well, I would say it's probably shouldn't be surprising that there wasn't much at the con, because one, the thing is still relatively new. Like, yeah, it's big enough to where you would think if there was a little bit more time that they, between now and it coming out, I'm guarantee you would have probably been more there. And I'm pretty sure New York's probably going to have, it's going to be to the gills probably.
Right. I only saw a few cosplays of K-pop Demon Hunters, and I made sure to take their picture, and I talked to them, and and they were happy to do it. But it's just so new that it really hadn't hit the fandom like that yet, but it will. It's in the process of doing so. I think that's really the key.
Right. Also, yeah, like you said, it's out there, and people have heard nothing but good things about it. So I haven't watched it, but hey, it'll get there. And the fact that and it's also not surprising for Netflix to be all up into it, because like, oh, they caught onto something that was that people like. Oh, milk it.
Yes.
So, but. Also, real quick, on a real quick aside, before I go to the next one, Apple TV unveils a thrilling new trailer and star-studded lineup for global K-pop song battle series K-Popped, which will premiere on August 29th. That usually has nothing to do with what we normally talk about, but being that we just talked about K-pop Demon Hunter, might as well slide it in, right? Psy and Megan Thee Stallion are going to be front and center of this thing, and apparently it was produced by Lionel Richie, so which is kind of funny, because after I saw this was a thing, well, before I saw this was a thing, I was in a stream where we were talking, and Psy came up, and Gangnam Style and whatnot came up, how big dude is. It's kind of funny. And then this happened to pop up. So yeah, so there's going to be a bunch of K-pop acts in this, and of course them, and a bunch of Western artists whose songs are also going to get K-popped, which is the name of this thing. So basically it's a battle of people turning Western hits into K-pop hits, from what it sounds like. So get ready for that onslaught, folks, as I'm sure Agent 70 and or his niece and whatnot will be privy to. And also, she probably doesn't watch this, so she doesn't know that what you got for her. So,
Right, not yet, not yet.
that's
Still
your-
a surprise.
right, that's
Still
your
a
saving grace.
surprise.
But continuing, speaking of actually Gundam Wing and Gunpla, Gundam Wing gets a new 30th anniversary release of major Gunpla design update for. So basically, it's a new version of Wing Zero Gunpla set that was done. So it's RG 1144 Wing Gundam Zero. It's a new Gundam Gunpla figure from Bandai Spirits, of course. Let's see, if you're watching the video, you can see the figure in itself, and yes, it does apparently transform as it does in the show. So yay. It looks like this is not a master grade, which is the highest end. This is a real grade figure, which I guess is the step down. I can't remember how that goes.
That works for me, and it's only $32.
And that. So there you go. And this, yeah. So this is the Wing Zero from. Oh, so no, this does not have the other trappings from in the wings, the actual wings from Endless Waltz. So there you go. And Agent 70 just said the price. So there you go. Yeah, there you go. Agent 70's Gunpla journey starts now. Next up, we get into some comic book news, actually.
All righty, Absolute Wonder Woman. Okay. So I missed the most recent issue of Absolute Wonder Woman. I have to backtrack and read it. Absolute Wonder Woman and Lunar New Year Love Story win at the 2025 Eisner Awards. So the winners of the 2025 Will Eisner Comic Industry Awards were revealed at San Diego Comic-Con. And there were several notable winners this year, including Absolute Wonder Woman winning Best New Series. Bravo. It's one of my favorite comics that's out all the time. I have it added to my physical pull list. Joe Sacco's The War on Gaza winning Best Single Issue One Shot, and upcoming TMNT writer Jean Luen Yang winning Best Writer and Best Graphic Album. New for his and Liu Yuan Pham's graphic novel Lunar New Year Love Story. Okay.
Yeah, we talked about Jean Yang taking over at TMNT last week, so you were not here for that. For that.
Nice.
It's
but I'm happy to see. I'm definitely happy to see Absolute Wonder Woman taking it for Best New Series.
Right. It's Jean Luen Yang and Freddie E. Williams II actually are taking over TMNT after and at 13 issue 13. But anyway, yeah. So I was gonna ask you. Didn't I assume you did not make it over to the Eisners while you were?
I did not. No.
while you're there, because I feel like we would have heard something about that. But we're not going to go over everything that won and was in it. But it's good to see that Zatanna Bring Down the House by Mariko Tamaki and Javier Rodriguez won, because I think, did I read that one? I can't remember if I read that one. I think I did. I don't remember. I'm trying to see if there was any other thing notable that we would know. Godzilla,
or that we were cheering for, because I definitely would have been cheering for Absolute. It looks like Absolute Batman was nominated for Best New Series, but I'm happy that Absolute Wonder Woman took it.
Right. Yeah. I would have liked to seen something for The Hunger and the Dust, but I don't see anything that it was nominated for, unless I'm missing it. But boo. Either way, let's see. Godzilla 70th anniversary.
Yeah, I mean, people are welcome to scroll through this article to look at all of the winners. It's a pretty interesting list, because it definitely highlights some things that are maybe a little bit off our beaten path.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Book was Everly won for something, probably well deserved. Whatever it was. Best coloring, Jodie Belair. I'm not surprised for Absolute Wonder Woman and a bunch of other stuff. Clayton Cowles.
Best lettering. Where's Joe Caramagna, our favorite lettering paisan?
Wasn't even in the running, but yeah.
Not even in the running.
But Clayton Cowles Hey, he was.
Yes,
So there you
one
go.
of his colleagues. Yep.
But yeah, so outside of that, nothing. But yeah, like I just said, you can check out this list for yourself if you haven't already. Some stuff to probably definitely check out if you're interested in more than the big 2 or 3. Next up, though, how IDW is building an epic new Godzilla shared universe, and this was a panel from San Diego Comic-Con talking about how they developed the Kaisei universe, which I don't know if Agent 70 got a chance to read Godzilla #1 last week, but probably
I did not.
Probably not. Yeah, I didn't think so. But yeah, this is going to the whole process, which I won't go into, but you can read that for yourself in the show notes. Next up.
Alrighty. Oh, it looks like your audio is not coming into me now. On my recording, I don't know how long that's been like that.
Well,
yeah, the Gremlins are out tonight, man. So the original Shredder returns in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Battle Nexus. This was also San Diego Comic-Con news. Let's see here. So this is a big TMNT event comic, a crossover epic dubbed TMNT Battle Nexus. Okay, it's a 5-issue limited series with each chapter handled by a different creative team but telling a unified story. Okay.
and so can you hear me or not?
I can hear you. You're not coming in on my audio feed,
Oh,
which is
okay.
weird.
That is weird. Actually, now let me check my recording and see if say something.
Check 1, check 2.
Yep. Okay, you're coming in on mine, so cool. Yeah, I'm not sure if you want to pause it real. Well, no, because if you stop it, it's gonna stop. Never mind.
Right.
Next up, though,
Like you might be coming in just super low. I don't know. I can't really see. But you know, it's not a good sign. I'll put it that way. So you know, when we're done, when we're wrapped up, my recording, your audio may drop on my recording.
Dandy. Next up, though, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series finds a new home. So this is basically they're going to webtoons, and it's actually Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin that is going to webtoons. So, which is, hey, you know what? That was a good series. See, Last Ronin won't be the first IDW comic to relaunch on webtoon. Godzilla, Unnatural Disaster, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Beneath the Trees are also available to view on the platform. So there you go. Also, Webtoons announced that it's going to release Cyberpunk 2077 comic in collaboration with Dark Horse. And there you go. So yeah, so people who, if you haven't had a chance to check out Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin, hit up Webtoon and I guess soon if it's not already there. Next up.
On Saturday at San Diego Comic-Con 25, the Jim Lee and Friends panel began with Jim Lee discussing how this panel had no announced guests. So this year he thanked the fans along with Annie DePease, the senior vice president and general manager of DC Comics, and publicist Kerry Williams, and brings out his first guest, writer Tom King, the current writer of Wonder Woman, and Trinity, daughter of Wonder Woman. Let's see here. Then Jim Lee brought out Bilquis Evely and Mateus Lopez to talk about Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Let's see here. Keep on going. And Jim Lee brought out James Gunn onto the panel in person. And I guess he was like with a big surprise.
Oh, there it is. If you're watching the video version, you can see where you got popped up on screen.
Oh no, he had a final guest, Matt Fraction, the new writer of Batman. Okay.
Yes. Who apparently came in masked. Because that sounds like a Fraction thing to do.
Yeah.
Or maybe it really wasn't him. It was a stand-in. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding.
It was a Batman 66 mask.
Mm-hmm. So there you go. I'm just going to put this in here as also on a really quick aside. Hunter X Golden returns to #1 as K-pop Demon Hunter soundtrack dominates the global charts.
It's Huntrix.
Huntrix? Okay.
Yep.
I stand corrected. either way.
Oh, only because Roddykat has not yet watched K-pop Demon Hunters.
Sure. But there you go, folks. That's the thing. Next up, actually though, Robert Kirkman relaunches Invincible Universe comic Capes, which I think was made into a video game that I might own. Now that I think about it, but I have to research that. Regardless, so this was at from news from San Diego Comic-Con. So yeah, he announced the return of his and Mark Englehart's Invisible Universe comic book series Capes, like I said, in November, with a special remastering featuring new art and dialogue from the original creative team. Let's see, is what Kirkman described as, quote, putting a fresh coat of paint on the series, revamping dialogue, of course, and art, and then continue into 2026 with Benito Serrano co-writing the series beginning with issue number 7. So there you go. And then you get a little bit of flavor text on the comic. Never heard of this one, but then again, it's not surprising. Hadn't heard of a whole lot of stuff out of Invincible's universe outside of Invincible. But yeah, there you go. Wait, does it actually say anything about what I just mentioned? And probably not. So moving right along, next.
Alrighty, next up, another panel of news from San Diego. Transformers and G.I. Joe All Out War in the Energon universe was a panel from the Skybound folks. And Daniel Warren Johnson, Robert Kirkman, Joshua Williamson, and editor Sean Mankiewicz came together for a celebration that felt like 100 kids in a candy store, and moderated by Arun Singh. They talked about their plans, their upcoming plans. They talked about what they've done up to this point and their upcoming plans. Yeah, it's the big crossover. That's really what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm. In fact, there is a trailer for said crossover that is out there on YouTube now. I thought it was going to be in this article, but apparently not. And I think I might have it in the show notes because of that. If you are interested in find out a little bit more, or at least getting teased a little bit more about that Quintesson War thing. Next up though, and what else was I going to say? There's a couple other panels that have to do with like G.I. Joe and whatnot, and one called Transformers Activate Your Alt Mode with Frank Welker. That is also in the correct clickbait section if you want to check that out, and you should. Next up though, Marvel and DC are pulling out all the stops for their new crossover by bringing in comics legend Frank Miller to write and draw a story that pits Old Man Logan against the Dark Knight Returns Batman. I can't say that I'm surprised by this at all, but
right.
But of course, there was also talk of Deadpool and Batman. I think also, which is coming out in September, and I believe we might also have some other news. Yeah, we do coming up next about that. But yeah, sure, get Frank Miller back out to hit these characters up again. Why not? Next up.
All right, Marvel is launching 1776, a new series by J. Michael Straczynski, Ron Lim, and Sean Damian Hill. This was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. 1776 celebrates the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution with Marvel heroes in historic action. The 5-issue series features art by Ron Lim and Sean Damian Hill, with covers by Pete Woods. And yeah, okay. Kind of crazy that we're celebrating the 250th in such crazy times.
Yeah, indeed. Also, weirdly enough, made me want to go back and read 1492. Because I don't think I've really actually read that. And I believe, wasn't that Fraction? I don't remember. Either way.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm probably not. But I know he.
Well, we can just consult our favorite tool, not an advertisement, Marvel Unlimited.
You don't even have to go that far with that. But yeah. Also, to going back one quick 7, there was 3 Deadpool Batman covers that were revealed. That was was skipped over just a second ago. But Ultimate Spider-Man ends, but Marvel's biggest Ultimate event is just beginning, and we talked a little bit about this last week, and in prior episodes about the Ultimate Endgame. Last week I showed the poster, which of course looks like Avengers Endgame. Yeah, like I said, we hinted about this earlier, that Ultimate Spider-Man was ending. And, Ultimate Endgame is starting in December. So, therein lies that. Also, a funny Twitter post that I saw, which if you're watching the video version, you can see that is in the show notes, from Dennis Camp and Hickman, talking about Ultimate Endgame. Dennis Camp was like, "This is the craziest and most impactful crossover since Crisis of Infinite Earths." And then Hickman comes in to say he meant to say Secret Wars. So I saw that. So that was kind of funny. Promises a lot of resolution across the board because of this AIPT thing. But I had to share that really quick because I saw that was kind of funny. But and yeah, back to the article. Hickman promising bold payoffs and Camp teasing seismic consequences. It's clear that the Ultimate Universe is just getting started, even as one beloved chapter comes to a close. Now, I saw something out there that said all books were going to end at 24. That may have been just rumor. I don't know, but we'll keep on top of it, folks. You know we will. Next up.
So Marvel confirms the end 2099 by Steve Orlando with Spider-Man 3099. 5-issue event launching December 2025 from Steve Orlando and Ibrahim Roberson. Spider-Man 3099 debuts as Universe 2099 faces extinction by Abyssus, a null-infected Galactus hybrid. I love it. We've gotten so old.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
It's not 2099 anymore because it's just not far away enough anymore. It's now 3099.
Yeah, I feel like that 3099 was teased in something though a while back, but I don't know.
That's crazy, son.
Yes, yeah. Shout out Geritol for everybody. Yeah, let's get out of here. Next up though, let's see. Oh yeah, Venom is stealing Spider-Man's original red and blue suit for his next outfit upgrade, and this is it says Venom took over the Spider-Man costume in listen, the footnote here is took over the Spider-Man costume in Amazing Spider-Man 252, which of course classic, and now the shoes on the other foot in Venom 252. Let's see, which is coming out this December, and we don't have a cover for this, I guess, or unless this is part of the cover that you see on the thing. But apparently during a closed door retailer only panel at Comic-Con this year, David Gabriel, who is Marvel Comics' longtime senior VP of Sales and Marketing, revealed that this fall's Venom 252 will see the long-jawed anti-hero get a new costume inspired by Spider-Man's original duds. So this would mirror the debut of the Black Spider-Man costume. Okay, from Amazing Spider-Man 252. Marvel didn't get specified which Venom would be getting this new suit, but currently there are several people running around as Venom, so who knows, including Mary Jane Watson. So who knows? Next up,
the Daily Bugle brings you the best Marvel must-haves for Spider-Man Day. So Spider-Man Day was August 1st. So, technically when we started recording, we've now rolled into Saturday, August 2nd. But if you go over to the Marvel.com website and this Daily Bugle article, you can get to see all of the merchandise that is available for Spider-Man Day. Merch, everybody. So scroll down, you'll see all the Spidey related merch for Spider-Man Day.
Yep, oops, all merch. Some of which we've seen rumblings of prior to. But yeah, I don't know about that that expansion to Spider-Verse. Well, actually, yeah, I think so. Do I have that? I think I do. Regardless, some stuff out there for you folks, including Lego stuff, because Lego's, I hear, big. Weird. Next up, though, see all the stunning new Marvel Star Wars G.I. Joe figures revealed at San Diego Comic-Con, including, a little bit of Cyclops Jean Grey from, Dark Phoenix Saga.
I got pictures of all this stuff. The Hasbro booth was a mob scene, at least for the first like 3 days. I think it only started to quiet down on Sunday.
Which makes sense. Including something else that we're going to talk about in probably 1 or 2 articles. So I'm not going to bring it up right now, much to the chagrin of Agent 70. But actually, part of it I will. No, I won't. Let's see. There's a Marvel Legends series Spider-Man electronic expressive mask. Apparently, that's now I got to click through and see if there's what does it look like, and it just looks like Spider-Man's mask with. Okay, sure.
Yeah, but the lenses are expressive.
Right. Sure.
They're remote controlled.
Actually, it's right there. Yeah, and apparently there might be looks like might be a Wolverine one as well. Some more.
Right.
Star
It's
Wars.
based on the Deadpool Wolverine mask.
Right. Star Wars Black Series stuff. So you got Anakin and Stormtrooper. That looks like Mace Windu. That is. Let's see. You got the Emperor. Yep. So you got Vipora from Cobra La 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 La. You got some a band of Vipers that would probably be joining us soon. Figures that was out there because we already talked about that and know about that. Let's see. Python, excuse me, not Viper. That was the wrong paper. Grim Viper and Corporate Scorpion, etc., etc. A lot of stuff, folks. A lot of stuff there at the Comic-Con of San Diego's. Go figure. Next up.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of it. Took a lot of pictures. Just haven't had time to sort through them all. There's a pre-order alert for the Hasbro Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Wave 3 figures. The wave includes Marvel's Morph, Marvel Legends Jubilee, Emma Frost, Cable, Sunspot, and Logan. So these are X-Men 97 versions of these characters. You get a pretty cool redo of Jubilee, the animated Cable, and it's interesting to see Sunspot in the New Mutants garb,
Right.
the New Mutants uniform.
Right. I might have to revisit that series because I don't know when the next series is coming. More San Diego figures news. We got some photos of Mephisto in a chair.
Oh yeah,
we got
it's a great looking figure. I'll tell you that much.
Excuse me. Mephisto with Infernal Throne. My apologies. And yeah, pre-orders alive are out for all this stuff. We got Marvel Legends series Storm, Gambit and Rogue. Let's see, Wolverine and Storm, Cyclops and Jean Grey. I believe that is probably a similar one than what we just saw. And it also talks about the mask that the Wolverine mask that we just talked about, and that wave that Agent 70 just mentioned. So yeah, a lot of that stuff. But wait, there's more.
Right. In all seriousness, like I'm very much considering getting the Mephisto. Very much considering it. It's to order, so you have to order it on Hasbro Pulse.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely considering it. That's an incredible looking figure.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted, and if you really wanted to do any kind of set piece for Infinity Gauntlet, the OG Infinity Gauntlet, the comic book based Infinity Gauntlet, you kind of have to have a Mephisto.
Mm-hmm. Next up.
Alrighty, next up is let's see. Oh, the Magic the Gathering. Oh, this is big news on the floor. So these are the Marvel Legends Magic the Gathering Wave 1 figures. You have a battle damaged Spider-Man, Mary Jane Watson as the Iron Spider. You have an Anti-Venom, and you have Man-Wolf. You know, that Man-Wolf is going to be a big get for a lot of people. And obviously the battle damage Spidey is big, and the Iron Spider with the Mary Jane version is big. All of these Magic characters, especially with the introduction of Marvel into the Magic the Gathering game, these are going to be a hot commodity, folks.
The first comment under this thing is, I just know that because I insta bought Man Wolf off EE because I couldn't access my Pulse account, and they saw it on eBay with without the card for $20 the day after it releases. So that's funny. But yeah, all of these come with Magic the Gathering cards. I don't know if these particular cards they look like foil cards, and I don't know if they are going to be in the set proper, or these are for exclusive to this set. But I can see people trying to get these for those cards as well as just the figures. The Venn diagram of this is quite amazing, actually. But speaking of Magic the Gathering and Spider-Man, the 2099 cards create a self-sustained combo. So if you're watching the video version, you can see the Spider-Man 2099 card and the two other cards with it, which is his holographic assistant and another 2099 card there. So yeah, and this article apparently goes into the fact that the cards work well together, and is according to this article a interesting card. So, and talk about strats for Magic the Gathering. I'll be there when I get there. I mean, I played the game, but I hadn't, outside of seeing the preview stuff, I hadn't seen much else off of the set outside of this preview stuff. So, and that set doesn't even come out until September. So, hot and heavy, folks. Next up,
Magic the Gathering's Next Universes Beyond set is going across the Spider-Verse with the Spider-Man themed sets. Apparently, the Spider-Man 2099 cards create a self-sustained combo.
No,
what that means?
That was the one I just did, sir.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry. I wanted to talk about it because I have no idea what the self-sustained combo means.
So basically, it's like, does they work to the cards work together in a combo? So if you're able to throw down all three, they make for a combo that will probably be pretty good. That's the short answer, anyway.
Okay.
To be good to play. So yeah.
All right. So next up, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, the new throwback side-scrolling beat-em-up from Tribute Games and Dotemu, has added 2 Cosmic Warriors to the playable roster. Oh my God! Beta Ray Bill.
Yes, sir.
And the Norin Rad Silver Surfer are added to this game. Okay, now this is like a must get for me now. Holy cow!
This is what it took you to get that.
Holy cow!
So yeah, if you
are you
don't know,
kidding me? Beta Ray Bill,
right? So if
oh
don't
my
know,
God!
Marvel Cosmic Adventure is a side-scrolling beat 'em up, unlike just like that Turtles one that's real big, made by the same people, also Tribute Games and .emu. So they know a thing or two about making side-scrolling beat 'em up games. Yeah, and I was looking forward. I am continuing to look forward to this game coming out prior to Beta Ray Bill and Silver Surfer being in it, because yeah, the last couple of games that they've done, damn great. So the fact that they're adding Beta Ray Bill was one kind of a deep cut, but a great one. And yeah, we get a little bit of we get the voice talent that's also going to be in the game. So Brian Bloom's playing Captain America and Silver Surfer, of course. Steve Bloom, y'all know that voice. Venom and Beta Ray Bill. That's interesting. Actually, no, I can see it. Trevor Duvall is Rocket Raccoon. Cal Dodd is Wolverine, of course, because he's the one that voices Wolverine, or has voiced Wolverine. Josh Keaton is Spider-Man, of course. That's the current voice in the animated series. Matt Mercer is Nova and Annihilus, because he's everywhere. Aileen Mithen, not sure as who that is, but plays for Phyla-Vell. Alicia Rotaro as She-Hulk, and of course Allison Sheely Smith, who plays Storm, because that is the voice of Storm. undeniable, of course.
I'm getting this game. Beta Ray Bill, are you serious?
I like that's what it took for him to be interested in this game. That is all real big funny. That is big funny.
I mean, let's be real, right? I am a newcomer to having a modern video game system,
Sure.
right? I skipped a generation between the PS3 and the PS5. I have a PS5. I'm happy to have it. Have I used it within the last month? No. Right? I'm gonna have to fire it up just to make sure that it's updated. But come on, this is supposed to come out like what? Christmas time? This game
sounds about. Yeah, we don't actually know, but yeah, definitely around. Yeah,
sometime later this year. It says.
Yeah.
So my guess is Christmas time.
For the holiday rush is going to be between probably October and December, because I suspect if they're falling out for long, it's probably going to be like mid-November. I don't know, but that's speculation.
So ultimately, I'm looking forward to this. That's amazing. Beta Ray Bill.
Right.
My goodness.
That's funny. Like I said, folks, if you played that Turtles beat 'em up game, the Shredder's Revenge, you know what you get into with this, and you know the pedigree of the people making it, and the pedigree is great. So there you go.
It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up. This is like something you can play with your like young nieces and nephews.
And can. Yes.
Like it does not take a lot of there's not a lot of there's not a high level, not a high barrier for entry.
Right, and if they do the difficulty settings like they did Turtles, you can adjust this even more. So if that's your situation, so it's even better. But moving right along, also still actually wait, I thought I put in some Token Souls stuff in here. That might have been last week. Never mind. I guess I'll take this one, or I think I had this one anyway. Fantastic Four Popcorn Bucket Guide.
Of course you would get this one.
So yeah, we've talked previously about the Fantastic Four Popcorn Bucket stuff. There's that the Galactus one that's a grip, monetarily speaking.
It sold out at the AMC booth at San Diego Comic-Con. Sure.
I'm not surprised, and I heard that there's supposed to be a restock in back in theaters fairly soon as well. But I don't know. But yeah, so there's the Galactus one. You can see that one right there. There's a Herbie one, apparently. A Herbie, concession vessel that holds a large drink and candy, and a place for all three. There's character tins. There's soda toppers. There's drink toppers. Excuse me. Keychains. And apparently 4 flavors thanks to Coke Freestyle, which I still have yet to mess around with. Apparently a Fantastic Car popcorn bucket, as well as the Galactus one, and the Mr. Fantastic one, I believe, which may or may not be. Yeah, there it is. Which we have seen previously on this show. No shortage of and just a regular ass popcorn tin that you can just with the characters on it. Apparently that Galactus has LED eyes on it, which I didn't. I saw one up close or close-ish enough, but obviously, the battery stuff was probably still in place and they didn't use it. They were kind of confused actually about whether they wanted to put butter in the thing or not. But that's a whole other thing. But yeah, like I said, that stuff is out there. Catch it. Next up, though,
you can prepare to celebrate 60 years of Star Trek with Nacelle's nostalgic figures. Star Trek turns 60 next year.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
And the franchise is preparing to celebrate in style, especially with a brand new show on the way in Starfleet Academy. Outside of that, you'll be able to celebrate in style with Nacelle's new line of Star Trek action figures, which will dedicate a whole wave to the original series next year. So the third wave of Nacelle's Star Trek line is set to release in 2026. And it's dedicated to Star Trek, the original series, the OG lineup. Crazy.
Yeah, I believe you can see a slightly close-up shot of the Uhura figure.
Right. So
if
you
you're
get
watching video
Kirk,
version.
Spock, Scotty, Chekhov, Sulu, Dr. McCoy, Nurse Chapel, Yeoman Rand, and a mystery 2-pack being kept under wraps. Okay.
Hmm. I
And of
wonder-
course, Uhura.
Of course.
That's how they wrote the paragraph. So Uhura
Mhm.
is included as well.
Yes. I wonder who's in that 2-pack. Could it be Khan? I don't know. I don't know. Either way, that's kind of cool. I would have probably seen myself getting a couple of these figures actually. I think I might have talked about a couple of these last week also. And the Uhura part of this was is newer to the equation. So there you go. And matter of fact, there you go. There's another shot right there. Next up, 2026 Age of Prime's Transformers brand panel was at 2020 at San Diego, and some new products was revealed. So there is a Leader Big Convoy, aka Optimus Prime, in the Japanese parlance. There's the figure right there. It's $60. There is Leader Razor Claw, another $60. Quintus Prime, I don't know that character, but it looks like kind of a slightly a Cthulhu-esque character, which I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Sure Shot, deluxe Sure Shot for $25. Blast Off, let's see, Quick Strike from Beast Wars, Junkion Jalopy. I think I had that actually. I think I had this that Junkion, and the other one. But anyway, Amalgamus Prime. There you go. Brawl, of course. Wreck-Gar. That is not Wreck-Gar. Wreck-Gar is a bike. Don't do this, but they did. That's why they do that. Wreck-Gar is a motorcycle. Don't do this. Anyway, but that's all. That's the stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and take this next one because it's also transformed. Matter of fact, I might just go ahead. And
Go ahead.
Next two. Hasbro gives Transformers an aquatic update with the new retros series release. So this is Sea Spray. They're re-releasing that Jobby in their Transformers Generations retro line. Let's see. It's according to this, Sea Spray differs in one major way from the other Autobots in the current series. While the latter are redecos of recent toys. Let's see, Sea Spray has a completely new mold, so that is what is different about them. This particular version of that. It's cool. And the next and last in the right, I might as well go ahead and I'm just gonna drop this one right here to the side of that. So therefore, Transformers' latest Hasbro action figure multi-pack gets an exclusive release this month. So I told Agent 70 about this. So this was exclusive to San Diego Comic-Con up until fairly recently. So that is the Jetfire with the Void Rivals figures. That was a San Diego exclusive. According to this article, it is exclusive to what other con is this? This is some Chinese con. Apparently, but also, as I come to find out, that you can pre-order the Transformers Void Rivals Jetfire and Derek and Void Rivals at Hasbro Plus. Don't nobody go out there and do it until I get my pre-order in. I will fight you. But yes, it's going to be $115. It's probably already sold out. I wouldn't be surprised if it is because I saw this earlier this afternoon. Actually, I'm dreading to go see, but I'm going to do it right now.
I can check right now. I just logged into Pulse.
I'm already checking actually. Yep. And looks like it's still in stock as we speak. So we know what I'll be doing after the show. Or while Agent 70 is talking, we don't know. One of the two could happen. Who's to say? But the next is.
Hold on. I was just looking for the Jetfire myself.
Oh,
I must have clicked. I must have clicked past it. It's not new and trending for me apparently.
Well, yeah, I found a direct link. So.
Gotcha. I see the sea spray.
Mm-hmm.
Very funny. Very funny. Oh, you can actually still get the Crystal and Lockjaw 2-pack.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that you can apparently still get, which was kind of a surprise.
All
to
right,
me.
let me look to see. Marvel debuts. Wait, did you do the? Oh wait, you did the multi-pack one?
Yes. So
Okay.
the one I didn't do was the Masters of the Universe one.
All right, that's what I was going to do. All right,
Yeah.
Mattel debuts a new Masters of the Universe Transformers collaboration. Masters of the Universe collides with Transformers as a new collab from Mattel with Megatron armor Skeletor. Oh my god. Skeletor features Megatron-inspired armor, merging Decepticon style with classic Motu villainy. The 5.5-inch action figure includes hybrid weapons and 16 points of articulation for ultimate playability. Pre-orders for Megatron armor Skeletor are now live at Target with an anticipated October 2025 release. Okay. He's got the cannon.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they do show it. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, folks. I was busy doing something else.
Yeah, he was trying to get his Jetfire.
Absolutely. So yeah, you can see the Skeletor figure right there. It transforms into what? Nothing.
It's just armor. It's
yeah.
just armor.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, the Jetfire is still available.
Mhm.
Look at that.
Surprised, actually. Like I said earlier, I saw it earlier and didn't think, wasn't sure if it was going to be still out there. But next up, though, more San Diego toy stuff. So we got a TMNT toy panel with NECA, McFarlane, Super 7, Mondo, and Playmates. And all their stuff that you can get from there. So there's some Walmart. There's a crossover with Fortnite. There's a Master Splinter Casey Jones for $35.99 / for $49.99. There's some Last Ronin stuff that you can get. Some Mondo stuff and Page Punchers. Let's see, McFarlane Toys Wave 1 from Leonardo, Donatello, Foot Soldier, and Shredder, and some stuff from Super 7 that was all shown there. There you go. Next up. And actually, wait, is that it? I believe that is, yes, that is it. Actually, because
Yay!
because the thing that I talked about with Jetfire was the last thing I had on there, but I didn't put it on there.
Oh, they actually have that Transformers Masterpiece Missing Link Optimus Prime on Pulse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I'm tempted, but not really. I'm tempted, but not that tempted, I should say. There we go. Get that off of there.
Like they actually have, like because this is what's interesting to me because it's better than the OG. But it looks like the OG. It's not like masterpieced out. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like where it looks completely animated.
Right. Oh, actually, one more thing I forgot to bring up. And now while he's looking at that, I'll just bring it up. Somebody mentioned to Agent 70 earlier that I'm probably not going to be in the show notes, but Matthew Lawrence is questioning the Superman the Superman dog superhero bond sparks debate.
Oh
apparently. My God. So apparently, let's see. Matthew Lawrence's comment at San Diego Comic-Con over a weekend on Crypto, the K9 star of has sparked a debate. Let's see. Lawrence was at Comic-Con to promote his new graphic novel with his brothers, the Lawrence Brothers Detective Agency. Whoa. And during an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, he drew a question from our popcorn bucket asking if he's seen Superman. The actor took it as an opportunity to pontificate on the role the dog plays in the movie and to David Corenswet's titular character. See, quote, "That's really got me. I'm a huge animal lover. I work in the conservation. I have more pets than I can count. Most of them reptiles and amphibian." I know Chili's hating that. But I've had some amazing connections with dogs over the years. Actually, I don't know. She may love and that is not the relationship that I want to see. I think it needed more heart. It needed more depth. He was kind of like, this dog, I don't really care about this dog. That's not, you got the wrong.
Because it's not his dog.
Well, there is that too, but he actually absolutely cared for the dog just because it wasn't his.
Right.
Lawrence is interrupted by his brother Andrew, who corrects the record, telling him how in the movie Superman was, quote, just watching the dog. And the spoiler in credit, Quote, and I'm just gonna say this, we're gonna move pause. But I think if you had a dog and you had a real connection with your dog, that is not it. And I wish I would have seen that because it always needed to be highlighted, he concludes. Anyway, that's I wanted to know what that whole situation was about, and now that I do, and I regret it.
Whatever, man.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, folks, that is the end of the news section, excluding that whatever that was. And while I continue to try to plunk down for this figure, let's get one last ad read.
Our last ad read of the night. Keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us, then click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, etc., etc. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
All right, folks. This is funny. I did a whole show, and I know Agent 7 is going to have words for it. Even if he doesn't say it, he's going to have words about the thing I'm about to say. I did a whole show last week. Now, granted, there was a little bit more news than what was given. By myself, that was, after cutting out 20 minutes, 3 hours. And yet
Goodness
here we
gracious.
are coming under 2.5. I'm going to fight somebody. Probably myself. But, it was a fun time regardless. So, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, check it out. Regardless of the fact, are we back to normal schedule, or you still got some? Because I can't remember if it was this week or next week or whenever that you had some.
No, I think we should be okay this upcoming week. At least for the foreseeable future. Obviously, our life sometimes lifes, so sometimes we have to reschedule. But we're definitely getting back on a regular track. Listen, San Diego throws a big wrench in the works. Especially with travel and whatnot. So.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, and of course I can't reply to that. Son of a biscuit. Anyway, so yeah, we'll be back next week. But I will say and reiterate, like I said earlier in the show, Eyes of Wakanda. We'll talk about that next week because, like I said, we hadn't had a chance to check it out this week because it just came out when we started, or the day we started recording this. So stay tuned for that. And Peacemaker's probably going to start sometime soon also, but I don't know. Regardless, I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at News Nerds Need at Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. 18_ is on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. Make sure to check out his Instagram feed. Make sure he's getting those pictures from San Diego out there. Don't press him, but don't press him too hard about it. He'll get to it when he gets to it, I'm sure.
Exactly.
And hey, if you got some cosplay pics out there you want to send to us, hey, do so. Send them to him. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. But if you got some, Comic Book Chronicles .bluesky. You know the deal. Anyway, the Comic Book Chronicles is on Blue Sky, except no substitutes. Let's see. You can also find this here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network. That's ESPN.us.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast spiritual place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts.
Indeed. And of course, mostly every Thursday night, you'll find us recording obviously this is not a Thursday night, but hey, we normally record on the Thursday night, 9:30, probably more closer to 10 o'clock Eastern on youtube.com/TheKliqNation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Yes, please click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Mm-hmm. So we appreciate you. If you happen to be lurking live, or you happen to catch this later in the audio or the video, which probably still gonna have to do some editing about it, but we don't see. But if you catch this, whatever way you catch it, we appreciate you greatly. There will be, I keep threatening more streams of video game varieties of comic book related stuff, and I mean it. One of these days I'll be held
That's
on to
funny.
it. Yeah, I know. It's been like life's been kind of weird lately. But hey,
Right.
busy. But yeah, definitely coming, because there's some stuff that I want to get off the plate, especially with Fantastic Four. I thought about doing the Superman thing stream, but that's an undertaking, and I would have to play the Superman game, a couple of Superman games that I really don't want to play.
Of course, I get it.
And I can't remember if I have access to the arcade one, which actually probably would be the best one. But either way, therein lies that, and therein lies this, and this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. One.
My time is up. Peace out to Brooklyn.
Good evening, Red. Would you believe it's Doctor Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?